In the previous video, I had just shown you basically how to put together just a simple residential turf area. We called it a rectangle, wasn't much of a rectangle, but I wanted to rewind things. So say you get into a scenario where a customer requests a putting green. Very, very common request. Really fun thing to price out, very simple. So I'm gonna walk you through that right now. All right, so we have the outside shape that the Mosier had given us. So when you're basically selling a putting green, try to think about, if you play golf, kind of the natural contour of what a putting green looks like. Obviously it's not gonna just be like an inch or two of fringe on the outside. Fringe is what we call the turf on the outside perimeter of the putting green, basically just the residential turf, but the fringe, on the purpose of it is keep the ball tucked inside the putting green area. So try to think of a natural shape. I mean, if you pull them up on Google, show me putting green areas, you can show customers, they can say, oh, I like that shape. You're mainly gonna tailor it to where it's going in the yard. So let's do something simple. Let's just say they wanna do a interesting shape putting green. Say something like this. Not the prettiest in the world, but it works. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna fill it in with the products, with the turf. So we're gonna click products here. We're first gonna go to weed barrier. We'll put that down in both areas. We're gonna click finish. In the previous video, we had already added the binder board to the outside perimeter. So we're not gonna do that again. You can revert back to the previous video if you forgot how to add the binder board. Very simple there. So we're going to scroll up here. We're gonna go to artificial grass installation. Again, that's gonna be the fringe. Click the outside perimeter, click finish. We're gonna click putting green installation. That's for the putting green that we drew out. Boom, 62 square feet. We have our putting green. Now that's gonna be a very tiny putting green, but the area that we had come up with outside was just showing a rectangle, like a simple shape. So not a huge deal here. We're gonna click finish, and you're always gonna add golf cups. Let's say we're gonna add one over here, maybe another one up there. Give a little more simple one here. So the golf cup assembly is what I just added there, and that automatically populates it into the quote itself. So let's see if there's anything else in here we want to include. So we're also going to include the antimicrobial and zeolite, which include it in both areas. Now we want to annotate a little bit more. You could say putting green area, maybe say the type of turf, Eco 85 silver putt. All right, so I've added that verbiage there, something simple. I'm not gonna spend too much time tweaking it and adding a bunch of additional things. This is where we'd also add our photos or access photos. I'm not in the backyard right now, so I'm not gonna include those, but you can revert to the previous video for that. So we have all that put together. We're gonna pop back into reports. We're gonna go to report inputs. We're going to, for the artificial grass installation, that's gonna be the fringe or the residential turf that's around that area. So let's keep it simple, so Eco 72. We're gonna go into putting green installation. Doesn't seem like Atlanta is populating, but luckily Dallas is very, very similar pricing to Atlanta. So we'll just click Dallas, Eco 85 silver putt. Again, you're just clicking your region, because pricing is different in California versus it is over here in Georgia. So let's make sure everything else looks good. The field data, the artificial grass installation is 190 square feet. So what we're gonna pull from that is we're gonna go to the field data, and we're gonna say, let's say the area 1 is 190, but the total is 252. So we're just being specific about where each number is coming from. Area 1, Eco 72. We're gonna say area 2. That's gonna be the putting green. So as you can see, I'm popping back over here to see what that reads, 62. So we're gonna say area 62. And we'll just double down on that, put the square footage of the putting green area. Now you're gonna run through here, do the standard process of filling all this out. Since I already used this arc site in the previous video and I had just deleted some of the stuff to show you for this putting green, a lot of this is already checked off. Big thing to add here is since we have multiple turfs, we're going to click both turfs that we included. Make sure you have that selected, as it's very important if you do have two different types of turf in whatever your arc site project or whatever it is we're working on. Project notes, we can add something that says something as simple as that. Okay, everything else looks good. All right, let's go to summary, make sure all that looks good. We have the 190 square feet of turf, 3 golf cups, 62 of the putting green, 669 the bender board. All right, same process as before. We're gonna push this over to Jobber. So we're gonna click reports, export other reports, PDF from a template. Everything looks good. You saw me just go through everything. So we're gonna click next. Export customer proposal. We have all that in here. And again, the cool thing with the arc site is this is populating for the customer and the crew. If you have the measurements visible, you know, when the crew is looking at, oh, you know, where's the start and stop point of the putting green, they'll have this to refer back to. It's also really good, like on your photos. I didn't include any in here, but in your photos that you attach to the arc site where we have the access photos, you can just take one quick photo and draw where the putting green is. It's a little bit easier than looking on here, but this is mainly to show the measurements of it. So we're gonna click done. Very important question pops up. Do you wanna push this proposal to Jobber? Yes. I have the quote pulled up that we pushed from ArcSite. Now it's a Jobber. Same thing as before in the original video. You have all these line items that populate. There's always 3 that you're gonna have to add. Well, there's 2 that you're gonna have to add. For instance, it's 3 in this one. The 2 are the artificial grass that you priced out, and the second is the labor warranty. But since we have 2 types of turf, we have the fringe, and then we have the putting green. That's 2 right there. So let's go ahead and go up to the pencil. Let's go add those in. We're gonna go 2-year labor warranty, that's in there. We're gonna add the landscape/fringe turf that we priced out. That's the Eco 72. I recommend bringing that below the description of the actual artificial grass installation. Go down here, pull in the turf that we used for the putting green. Now, as you can see, this isn't super complicated stuff, just meticulous. It's gonna take repetition. Might be a little overwhelming going through this initially, but once you do it over and over again, it's muscle memory. It really is simple stuff. So once we have those in there, we're gonna do the typical, add the photos of the turf itself. Big for the presentation. Now, everything in here looks pretty darn good. There's nothing really additional I would wanna add. I mean, you can get as complex as you wanna get. Like if you wanted to add any other components to it, you can add those in there. But we're keeping it simple for the video. So always go in there and add the deposit only, 20%. Okay, we're gonna save that. We already have some of the photos that I had thrown in there. Maybe you wanna add, typically I'll recommend that if it's a putting green that you're pricing out, maybe you add some putting green photos in there. Because really big into selling the dream here. These projects are expensive. And if a customer sees some example photos and sees what they're paying for, a lot of times it makes them feel better about it. They see them and it inspires them and reminds them the whole reason you're there is because they want turf. They like the way it looks. So we're gonna save that. That's all good to go. Add our introduction photo. Let's say that we did add our introduction photo. I didn't go into Gemini and mark up the area. Normally for a putting green, you're 100% gonna wanna mark up the area where the putting green is. I'm just gonna throw this one in here to be a little more simple for getting through this. But this would be the backyard that we were just measured. And then it would also have the markup of where the putting green is. You have the fringe, all of that's added in there. This, assuming this would be like a Gemini photo. I'm just using this for an example. Let's go to preview as client. That's in there. That all looks beautiful. We have the putting green, we have the fringe. Everything is in there and it looks really nice. And then of course we also have the arc sight over here. This gets, like I said, it gets attached to the contract. You can show the customer this if you're really trying to show how detailed we are. But this is mainly, like I said in the previous videos, it's for the crew, for the PM, but never hurts to show the customer. So this is all good to go. We're gonna go ahead and email this over to the customer. These next few videos, I'm gonna show you different deposit amounts, different variables for quotes. This is mainly, the next one's gonna be kind of getting in a little bit deeper to what you can and can't do on Jobber throwing together these quotes.